The SS Howard S. Gerken. Launched on October 10, 1910. The Howard was built by the Doty Engine Works of Toronto, Ontario, and she was owned by the Gravel Products Corporation. The Howard actually had a couple different names. Her first was Rosamond Billett from 1910 to 1919, and then the T.P. Phelan, or Phelan, if I'm saying that correctly, from 1919 to 1925. And then finally she received her last name, the Howard S. Gerken, from 1925 to 1926. The Howard was actually a type of dredging boat. This meant that the dredging would be an excavation of material from a watery environment. This would be for different reasons for dredging, which could be for improving existing water features, such as reshaping land and water features, or to alter drainage and navigability and other commercial uses, such as constructing dams, dikes, and other things like this. But mostly they were used for excavating from watery environments. The Howard had a length of 155 feet. She had a beam of 24 feet, a depth of 16 feet. And for installed power, she had 2 condensing compound steam engines. When the Howard was launched at Quebec in 1910, the steamer was designed for use as a riverboat on Manitoba's Red River. On August 21, 1926, under the command of J.B. Gamble, the Howard was busy removing silt at the entrance to the harbor at Erie, Pennsylvania, and was bound for Buffalo. The Howard traveled from Erie to Buffalo during the day, on Friday, and they were just setting out to return at around 8 p.m. back to Erie, Pennsylvania, that night. During the night, a 30-mile-an-hour wind began to blow. As the Howard pulled out of the harbor, the winds then increased to 50 miles an hour at around 8:30 p.m. This late summer storm caused water to pour all over the decks and into the ship, and this caused great fear amongst all those aboard the Howard. The winds then rose from just 50 mile an hour to a staggering 82 mile an hour winds at around 9:30. Noticing this, the captain and the crew sent out distress signals by radio and lights, which were not seen in the Erie port. Quoting now from either Captain Gamble or one of the crew members, they said, and I quote, "We turned back to port, but the rain and hail was so heavy that it was impossible to get our bearings. With death staring us in the face, we soaked a mattress with kerosene and set it on fire atop the engine house. It brought the Maitland to our aid, and only through the heroic bravery of its captain and crew were we brought to safety." End quote. The car ferry Maitland, which was running from Ashtabula, Ohio to Port Maitland, Ontario, had seen the flames of the burning mattress on top of the Howard, and she quickly hurried to their aid. At around 1:30 a.m. Saturday, August 21st, the Sandsucker Howard finally gave up and sprung a massive leak. This caused her to roll on her side. The men aboard her managed to launch 3 lifeboats, with 9 in one, 4 in a second, and 7 in the third lifeboat. At just the right time during that moment of all the chaos, the Maitland appeared on the scene to pick up the lines of the 3 lifeboats. However, during all the chaos in the storm, one of the lifelines from one of the lifeboats snapped in the wild waves, and the boat disappeared into the night with 4 men in it. The Maitland searched all throughout the night for 3 hours, but nothing was to be found of the missing lifeboat. 16 men, including the captain, were rescued by the Maitland, and they were then taken to Ashtabula, Ohio. The following day, after the sinking of the Howard, one occupant from the missing lifeboat was actually found, fireman Norman Wagerman. He was found semi-conscious from the lake by the Coast Guard just 15 miles northwest of Erie. The fish tug Uranus recovered the lifeboat at noon that day. The lifeboat was overturned and empty. The 3 other men, mate George McKinn, watchman Richard Freeman, and engineer William Logan were nowhere to be seen and were never found. Their lives were lost that night on the terrible storm in Lake Erie. And that is the full story of the SS Howard S. Gerken. Her wreck was later found in 2009 with sonar. Well, I've heard that there are some pretty nasty gales out on Lake Erie, and she's not the deepest of all the Great Lakes, that's for sure. But being as such, yeah, I've heard from many people as well that she can just whip up into a really bad storm. I mean, Lake Michigan, Lake Superior, they've got their bad raps, but because I guess how shallow Lake Erie is, that she ain't nothing to be messed with, that's for sure. But yeah, those what a horrible thing to see the rescue ship coming, and for everyone to grab your lifeline to your lifeboat and for the line to snap, and especially at night too, and then to drift off into the lake during a horrible 82-mile-an-hour storm on the lake that night. I can't imagine that. And what a tragedy that those men were lost in Lake Erie in that storm. I mean, I couldn't find anything more about what the one man rescued, because there were 4 men aboard there were 4 men aboard the missing lifeboat, and one of them was found, but I couldn't find any testimony. Maybe you guys can find it of what happened. Maybe he recounted what exactly happened, aside from it being flipped over. And I mean, just the mere fact that he was found is a miracle. But yeah, it probably got flipped over by a huge wave and the wind and the hail, and the other 3 men did not make it. Very sad. This was a cool story on a Sandsucker boat. Definitely don't do many of those very often. They are very interesting to learn about, and there's more information on them definitely available. But yeah, thank you for joining me on this story. The Howard is definitely worth telling, and her story, and getting caught in a terrible storm is never a good thing, especially on the Great Lakes. But yeah, thank you so much everybody for joining me on this episode of Songs of the Great Lakes. I hope you enjoyed it, and again, God rest those 3 men who did not make it out there during that terrible day. But until next time, guys, thank you again so very much for listening with me and enjoying this channel and helping it grow. And until next time, God bless you all.